turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to build, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven, and a time for every purpose under heaven.
Doesn't want to stand. Wow, good morning everyone. It's been a while, over a year I think. Thank you for having me. भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः Vyashema devahitai yadayuhu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, O gods, may we hear with our ears what is auspicious. O ye adorable ones, may we see with our eyes what is auspicious. May we sing praises to ye and enjoy with strong limbs and body the life allotted to us by the gods. Om, peace, peace, peace. The ever-changing reality in the midst of which we live should awaken us to the possibility of an uninterrupted dialogue with God. The ever-changing reality in the midst of which we live should awaken us to the possibility of an uninterrupted dialogue with God. By this, I do not mean continuous talk or a frivolously conversational form of affective prayer, which is sometimes cultivated in monasteries or convents, but a dialogue of love and a dialogue of choice. Thomas Merton. Again, good morning to all. My name is Swami Dhyanayogananda, and my center is Ramakrishna Monastery in Trabuco Canyon. I see familiar faces. It's good to be here. Our topic today is embrace change. Yeah. Well, I was recently on a trip to India, and all of a sudden I get this message that I need to give a talk here, and they were asking for a topic. And I was going through a couple of sudden, unexpected changes in my trip. And there you go. I was like, okay, let's embrace this. And let me share with you my thoughts on this change, which is constant, as you all know. The only constant in life is change. Change is inevitable. Change is the relentless force that shapes the very fabric of our existence. It sweeps through our lives like a river curving its course through the landscape, reshaping our realities, challenging our beliefs, and pushing us beyond our comfort zones. In the grand tapestry of life, change is the constant thread that binds us all, weaving its intricate patterns with unyielding certainty. Yet despite of inevitability, many of us find ourselves paralyzed by fear in the face of change, clinging desperately to the familiar and resisting the unknown that lies ahead. Clinging desperately to the familiar and resisting the unknown that lies ahead. Growth and change are inevitable. The truth is that we are introduced to change since the moment we are born into this world. We go through all the growth process, starting from childhood, puberty, adolescence, adulthood. And you know, we never get younger. When we are young, we are not looking for comfort, we are looking for adventure. We are looking for discovery. We are looking for life. And life implies change. And when we are young, we welcome change. Now when we start growing older and older, What are we looking for? Comfort, safety. We don't want to. We don't feel like moving anymore. That's exactly what happened to me. I didn't want to move all over these wonderful places in India. I just wanted to stay in one single place. We are not looking forward to great adventures in life. We don't want to get into trouble anymore. We are done with change. But can we say that? Life itself is change. As we become more security-oriented, the more disturbed we will be with every change that happens in our lives. The essence of our mortal experience is to not remain the same. In the Stoic philosophy, we find at its heart the fundamental principle of embracing change with equanimity. The Stoics understood that the universe is in a constant state of flux, and to resist change is to fight against the very essence of existence itself. As the great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. In these words, we find the essence of Stoic wisdom, that our perception of change determines its impact on our lives. The essence of physical existence is change. So if you resist change, you're resisting life. When you resist change, you must understand you are resisting the very process of life, the very fundamental process of life. As a result, we create unnecessary suffering. Lao Tzu says, life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Part of the mastery of life is learning to see change as a game. Your life does not get better by chance. Your life gets better by change. Change can bring variety and spice into our lives. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Stepping out of your comfort zone is the first step to breaking free from mediocrity. Change is part of why we are here. Being resistant to change can prevent you from developing spiritually. Life is an ever-evolving journey. We can experience joy by embracing rather than resisting the changes that steer us towards our spiritual destiny. Is it clear? Can we resist change? Life is change itself. It makes us feel uncomfortable sometimes, but life is what it is, change. Now, in spite of the fact of all these changes, a human being has to face himself or herself as a person with all its challenges and limitations. Changes happen coming from the external world. We have no control. In spite of all that, we have to confront our challenges and our own limitations. How do we do that? By making decisions in life, which involve changes. We need to identify the need to change, Viktor Frankl says. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. An aspect of change, therefore, is acceptance. We need to learn to accept and embrace change in our lives. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses, says Carl Jung. Now, as I mentioned before, there are two types of change. Change can come in two different ways based on the degree of our control. These are externally and internally driven changes. The first is the big things that you don't have control over. The second is the small things that you do have control over. Externally and internally driven changes. Big changes that we don't control. These are brought about by forces outside our control. These external changes can be difficult to navigate, as they often require you to adapt to new situations quickly and without warning. We all experience that in our lives. However, they can also be opportunities for growth and resilience, as they force us to relate to something higher than us in order to regain strength, leading us to develop deep faith, and reliance on what we call a higher power or God. Small changes we can control. These self-initiated changes are often driven by a desire for personal growth, change in our personality and character. The small and simple changes you make over time can help you get to where you really want to be. The small things you do to improve, like repeating daily, can be powerful and give you spiritual momentum in your life. Areas or aspects of your personality that are not working for us in our lives, to be able to use our determination, our willpower to address these aspects of our personality, is something that is definitely in our hands. These can be very challenging, but in life we need to confront our demons. We all have them, unfortunately. Self-destructive behavior is a universal problem, human problem. Self-destructive behavior. The bottom line is that there are powerful forces within us that resist change, even when we can clearly see what would be good for us. Bad habits die hard. It seems as if we have two brains, one waiting the best for us, one wanting the best for us, and the other digging in his heels in a desperate, often unconscious effort to hold on to the status quo. We can sometimes be our own worst enemy. What are these self-destructive behaviors? Let me give you some examples. Internet addiction, overreacting, social isolation, not paying attention to your body, not exercising, overworking, anorexia, bulimia, inability to express yourself, sports addiction, stealing, attraction to the wrong people, avoiding the chance to express your talents, staying in bad situations, jobs, relationships, antisocial behavior, foolish pride, perfectionism, procrastination, always late, smoking, fashion addiction, too much of TV. Well, these days we have these as streaming sites. Gaming addiction, hoarding. Most of us find ourselves too often repeating the same mistakes, stuck in bad habits, and few of us understand why. This is deliberate self-harm. Generally, we know what we are doing to ourselves, and we keep promising to reform. I'll change. I have to. And we keep postponing this. Indeed, we try often enough, but these habits are hard to break. Every time we try but fail, we become more hopeless and more critical about ourselves. Self-destructive habits like these are the greatest source of unnecessary misery in our lives. If these habits don't go too far, they won't hurt you much, but they can make you feel guilty and can eat away your self-esteem. What is the reason we behave like this? What are we craving that is never enough? What do we want really that we go to the extent of lack of self-love, self-care? We sabotage ourselves. In both cases, whether the changes come from outside or from a need from the inside, we require to relate to a higher force that will allow us to find solace, strength, and freedom. We resort to what we call God for strength, that intelligence to which we pray to find inner strength. Is it true? We resort to our willpower. First things first, our willpower, supported that by that God, supported that by higher power. After all, what is the only unchanging thing we can relate to in order to feel safe? The only thing that never changes is our idea of God. Despite all the changes that come into our life, we can find assurance in the eternal truth that will never change. That assurance is coming from the scriptures, the teachings of our teachers, etc. In the devotional approach, I like what the singer Eddie Espinosa says. Change my heart, O Lord. Make it ever true. Change my heart, O God. Make it ever like you. God's love for you will never change. God is ever present. We resort to religion. But Vedanta demands we resort to something a little higher. We call it self-inquiry and also real spirituality. Whether our approach is dualistic or non-dualistic, to resist is futile. There is no other way but working with our limitations. We have to work with our shortcomings. We have to work with our selfishness. If we want growth, we have to be open to change. And the very first things we need to change is ourselves. Life experiences sometimes push us to make these decisions. Like, I had enough. It's time to do something about it. We have to change how we perceive reality. We have to change how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive the world, how we perceive God and religion. What are the areas that require change? As I mentioned before, I was in India, the land of religion, very, very ancient. And the very first thing we do when you go to these places, holy places, is to visit temples. Many of them are very old, and they honor, they worship different deities that represent different aspects or different powers of God. But you have to remove your shoes, walk barefooted, not knowing, you give yourself to the will of God because you don't know what you're going to step into. And sometimes it's very dirty. I don't mean criticism, but it is what it is. And you are pushed, and all of a sudden you ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is the purpose? And then you don't even know if when you come back, your shoes will be there or not. Sometimes it happened to me in the past, and when I came back, my shoes were not there anymore. So what is the use of all this religion? We need to change the notion of what religion and spirituality really is. In India, I was in Varanasi or Kashi. It's a very holy place. Probably it's the most ancient city in the world. And I was visiting Kedar temple, Lord Shiva. While there, trying to be present in the meaning of what was happening, I was going to have darshan, or the vision of this symbol of God. Just like we stand here before these symbols and pictures, they carry meaning to us. And that we have to keep present. We have to be aware of the meaning, otherwise what's the purpose? But suddenly, somebody threw a garland that landed right around my neck. It was beautiful. Sometimes, I was like, whoa, what was that, And I thought, what is this? What is the meaning? The priest, the person who actually threw that garland on me, was trying to make me feel special. I don't think so. After that, he kind of like extended his hand for me to give him some money. Regardless, I kept the garland. I took it to my room. I was staying in our ashrama there in Varanasi. And I decided to witness the changes in this garland. It fell on the floor. And all of a sudden, one day I woke up and I saw a curled snake. Was it really a snake? Or was it just a garland? That is the problem of our vision, how we see reality. We need to understand this very well. We never seem to see what is really there. We always see what we think, what our eyes see is in front of us. We only see to the extent of our knowledge. We don't see what we don't know. My I includes my wishes, my understanding of myself, of the society, of the system, of the current notions that I subscribe to, either consciously or unconsciously. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Our life is what our thoughts make it. In other words, I am the very process of my thinking. I am a product of the society I live in. And naturally I am influenced by its values. Therefore, we need to undergo a total change in terms of our vision about ourselves, of the world, of our value structure, and of the various notions that are floating around us and influence us. This change is purely in the form of how we perceive or how we cognize. This is exactly the change that we need. We need to change cognitively to understand that mere religion is not going to solve the problem. It has not solved it in the past, and it will never solve it. Religion and spirituality are not the same, my friends. But they are not opposites either. Spirituality is more about personal growth and fulfillment. It's about us. While religion is about following certain rules, traditions, customs. Religion can also contain an undercurrent of fear, while spirituality is more self-referential and inclusive. Remember the garland? All of a sudden I was confronted, if I don't give, maybe something will happen to me. Superstitions come to your mind. So you better give a few rupees, at least. Spirituality is about us. Religion without spirituality, without understanding the spiritual element in it, is not sufficient. A spiritual life, on the contrary, is very important, although there is not much difference between a mature religious life and a spiritual life, really speaking. You could be religious, but not truly spiritual. But once you are spiritual, you are religious. Because you are true. There is an obvious difference if our understanding of religion is only a set of beliefs. Religion is called faith in English because there is nothing beyond faith. Every religion has a set of beliefs, all of which are very difficult to verify. And because of that, we can believe. We are free to believe. They are non-verifiable. The goal that they propound is not something that we can attain here. Listen, the goal of religion is not something that we can attain here. What is the goal of religion? Be good, do good, you'll go to heaven. Can you prove that? Who is there to tell? If heaven is the religious goal, we can believe in it, even though it's non-verifiable. Non-verifiable means we cannot verify either its existence or non-existence. The one who believes and the one who does not are both believers. The belief that we will survive death is non-verifiable because at this stage we cannot verify this. Will you believe me if I said that yesterday I returned from heaven? Some of them may. Can I prove it? Difficult. But you are free to believe. Or not. A simple religious life based on a set of beliefs has yet another belief, which is the existence of a God. We need a cognitive change here as much as we need a change in understanding our concept of God. A religion or a concept of God that causes fear in any form cannot help a person grow spiritually. Most of the popular religions have a concept of God which spells fear. In the eyes of a mother, I say, all her sons, the noble, the accomplished, the one given to alcohol and crime, are all the same in terms of care and love. It also means you have to be very clear in terms of what it is that you have to accomplish in your life through this kind of religion. As a human being, you are endowed with the faculty of choice or free will. You have to exercise it. You have to live intelligently. You have no choice but to choose. Therefore, you have to examine the various concepts available to you and choose. If fear is the reason for choice, then as long as there is fear in the heart of a human being, there cannot be spirituality. The cause of fear is the judgmental person. A day will come when God will sit and judge. Anyone who is judgmental is mental, subject to change. It reflects a holier-than-thou attitude, which is not a healthy one. You can accept a human being with such weaknesses in character, but you cannot think of a God in the same way. On the other hand, if you say you will be in heaven for some time, but return once your karma is exhausted, sometimes this is the question that they ask me. In Vedanta, are there any heavens? I say, well, some of the scriptures talk about higher worlds where we go and exhaust our good karma, and then we come back until we figure this out. We understand who we are, and the game is over. The Vedic scriptures don't want me to blindly follow its words. It wants me to believe a few concepts and understand certain others. I need to know what is to be believed and what is to be understood. I can't believe in the law of karma. Do I have any proof? Well, I don't know. There are some documentaries on Netflix. They talk about karma and past lives. Do I believe? I choose to believe. It makes sense to me. But there are certain things that I need to understand about myself. That is also part of scriptural knowledge or realization from teachers, ancient teachers. The difference has to be very clearly understood. Anyone who chooses to go to heaven out of fear of hell cannot be a spiritual person. At best, he can be a religious. He can lead a religious life. A spiritual person will not be a fanatic, much less be one who is subject to fear. A spiritual person is someone who is free from fear, who can accommodate everybody, who has compassion, and who will not hurt anyone. There cannot be a spirituality as long as there is no consideration for others' feelings. Vivekananda says, do you feel for others? That is the test of true spirituality. A spiritual person is one who wants to get rid of fear, to get rid of varieties of greed, selfishness, who does not blame a devil or an external force, and who is able to address his or her own problems. You don't put the blame on anybody. A religious person need not address any of these. He can be angry, he can be jealous, hateful, and yet be religious. He can also earn money through various means and give only 1% to the church, not even 10%. A religious person need not change. But we, my friends, if we are truly interested in leading a spiritual life, we have to embrace change. In our character and personality, we have to be real, true. Being spiritual means you neither blame yourself nor others. You address your own problems. You commit to change. Now, what is the main problem? What is our problem? What is the root cause of all these self-inflicted hurt? What do we want? The problem of a human being is facing oneself. There is exactly a sense of want in all of us. We are all wanting people. And you know that very well. But you don't know exactly what you want. But that wanting keeps that anxiety alive. Have you found peace already in the outside by fulfilling all these so-called desires or wants? It's never enough, huh? All we need is inner peace. And for that, we have to go within. As wanting persons, whatever we do, whatever we get or achieve, cannot make us free from being wanting people. What we seek is not an object. It's not an object. What we seek is freedom from ourselves. Freedom from being wanting people. That's all we want. Now you know. It happens to all of us. Don't take it personally. It's a universal problem. The freedom that you seek has to be centered on yourselves. If in reality you are a limited person, you have no solution. But are you really a limited person? If you are, you'll be limited forever. If you identified with your body, definitely you are limited, because the body is subject to age, time, change. If you identify yourself with your mind, that is also limited. What happens with the mind? It's not the brain, huh? The mind is a constant flow of thoughts. Changing constantly. Just like life. emotionally you are limited, and a wanting person as well. Knowledge-wise, we are also limited. Do we know everything? So in terms of knowledge, desires, emotions, conditions of the mind, health, height, looks, money, my God, in everything we are wanting. The urge to be free from want is very natural. So stay calm. As we say, don't freak out. It's natural. The urge is natural, like hunger or thirst. If this urge is as natural as hunger or thirst, it means there should be a means for fulfilling our urge. If these natural urges can be fulfilled, then the problem of my being wanting, a wanting person, must also have a solution. This exists only in highly evolved self-conscious life. Self-conscious forms, that is only human beings. We have that capacity to be aware of ourselves, aware of our existence. Look at yourselves. What are you? You will always, all of you will say, I'm here, Swami. You have that capacity, the awareness of the presence of your existence. Only human beings. What is the solution? The scriptures say, I am the solution. We have to understand what is that I. Some of our Swamis say, find out who that I is. I know it's difficult. I know we are flying a little high. That's okay. We should take this. It's about time to confront our true identity, to accept our real identity. We are not human bodies. We are not the mind. We are something higher than that. We are the unchanging reality, my friends. Unchanging reality, always present, will never die. It's here, like in everything, all around us. We can't escape it. Above, below, in front, behind, on each side. We are surrounded by that. The solution lies right here in changing my understanding of myself. In order to be happy, if we analyze ourselves, the only way to be happy is to fulfill all our desires. But that's not true. I was just driving here, beautiful morning, beautiful day, clear sky. All of a sudden I look up and I was like, I was happy. Did I fulfill all my desires all of a sudden? I wanted a cup of coffee. I wanted to have breakfast. Yet, I was happy. There is a reason for that. Our own nature is happiness itself. Our nature is bliss. And we need to connect with that. We need to accept it, regardless of our wants. Happiness is our very, very nature. So, we have to change the way we perceive ourselves, the world. We have to change the way we cognize. This cognitive change will put everything in perspective in your life. If you are what you want to be, then your vision of God also has to be different. Because God has no more contribution to make in your life. The old God, the old concept of God. You have to see what that God truly is. There is only confusion in our understanding. Vedanta is all about understanding and acceptance. In our lives, the concept of God has also need to undergo change. Our scriptures, the ancient scriptures, we call them Shastras, do not say that there is no God. Do not say that there is only one God. It says, all this is God. We are surrounded by God. Isha vasyamidam sarvam yat kinchit jagatya jagat. All this is pervaded by God. Idam sarvam. The phrase reflects the idea that the universe is one complete whole that is inseparable from what we call God. That intelligence is all around us. It manifests through us as the limited you. It's everywhere, even within me, within you. We have to learn how to lead, how to live our lives centered in that God which is everywhere, not only in my body, in all bodies and in everything. And we have to relate to that with love and respect. That is to be spiritual. That is the change we need to make in our lives. We have to stop being hypocrites. If we want peace, we have to embrace reality as it is. We understand what God is. All that is here is what we call God. Thomas Merton says, life is this simple. We are living in a world that is absolutely transparent, and the divine is shining through it all the time. This is not just a nice story or a fable. It is true, he says. Now we have a choice here. First, we start believing, and we start being coherent in our lives. If we believe, you act upon that belief. you start relating with the world, with each other, as what we truly are. Feeling for each other, expressing love and compassion. Otherwise, what are we doing? It's very difficult to find peace, you know. It's very difficult to stop that wanting instinct within us. It is not a concept, it is a vision. And you have to see clearly by understanding it. Just take it. Take it as it is. I know. Many of you say, whoa. Accept it. We are all conscious beings. To be conscious beings, that means we are the witness. What do we witness? The constant changes in our lives. The changes in the phenomena. The word for real or true is sat, satya or satyam. Each of these words indicate that which is unchanging. Sat, nitya, pure consciousness. Chit, pure consciousness is chaitanya. That is the witness of all things perceived. That witness is in us. Take it. Embrace it. Who is that unchanging reality? Merton says again, I love Merton, I think my job is to make the grace of an invisible God visible wherever I am. Amen. That unchanging reality is always present, even when it follows our thoughts and seems to change. Who is that unchanging reality? Vedanta says, it's you. We have to embrace change to become the permanent, unchanging I. Thank you.
Sweet refuge, you are to me in this ever-changing life. Sweet refuge, on every sea, through the struggles and the strife. Joys, they come and go like waves, they ebb and flow. Like sorrows come and go, the sun rises with the dawn. Sweet refuge, when all are gone and your face is all I see. Sweet refuge, in all my songs, words and tunes you give to me. And when questions rise and answers are not found, I look within your eyes life and death, two sides of the same coin. Sweet refuge in every breath, my heart to you belongs. Wherever I may go in this world my eyes do see, may I always know you're always here with me. Sweet refuge, you fill my heart with love that overflows. Sweet refuge, your faces, your names resound above, below. Guide my every step in beauty and in peace. I shall ever sing your praise for your love that doesn't cease. Sweet refuge, precious refuge, sweetest refuge, precious refuge, you are to me, my sweetest refuge, precious refuge, sweetest refuge, you are to me.
Let's see. Easter Sunday, worship at 6:30 p.m. in the temple. Morning. Oh, yes, you're wow, a.m. I'm used to the 6:30 p.m. Sunday, 6:30 a.m. 11 a.m., Swami Dhyanayogananda will give a spiritual talk. The topic is transformation and liberation in the temple. There will be an Easter egg hand during the talk with the Sunday school. So please come and join us and bring your kids. Thank you. I will close with a chant, and then I'm open to Q&A if you have questions. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, that outer world is Purna, full of divine consciousness. This inner world is also Purna, full of divine consciousness. From Purna comes Purna. From the fullness of divine consciousness, the world is manifested. Taking Purna from Purna, Purna indeed remains, because divine consciousness is non-dual and infinite. Om, peace, peace, peace. Thanks. Any questions? Yes.
I am getting to know the Hindu faith more and more. I was raised Catholic. What do you suggest in my reading?
Oh, there are so many things to read.
Just look it up.
Our readings or literature, we divide our books into two. The teachings coming from our teachers, which is Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda literature, and scriptural reading or literature. Scriptural, you can read the Bhagavad Gita. It's the best book to start with. Or other treatises on Vedanta written by Shankaracharya. You can find them in our bookstore. The easiest way to start or be introduced to this is to read the teachings from different teachers who we trust. These teachings are the embodiment of these ancient revelations that we find in the scriptures. Yes?
So, where's that? Well, it's online, so okay, thank you. What do you suggest we do when the fear arises?
Such as we do with?
When the fear arises, which is very...
It's natural, huh?
Yes.
Well, two things. You can relate to the totality, dualistically, by prayer. You open yourself to the totality and start a conversation with God. God is here, doesn't go anywhere. He's not running away from you. He's always with you. That is one thing. Another thing is to relate to who you truly are. Why would I be afraid? Who am I? I'm here. I'm self-conscious, aware of my existence. That means you are fulfilled already. You are everything you need, here and now. There is nothing to be afraid. Fear comes when we see duality. Fear comes when we experience duality. If such is the case, in duality you have to find your way out. In duality you relate dualistically to the principle of God. And you pray. And you offer yourself. And you request peace and liberation from that fear. Of course.
I've had some fear. I went through a divorce, so my wife cheated on me after 31 years, but now I have a girlfriend, so that's all right. My thing was, I think we should add a third, because I tell all the young kids that are doing street drugs to get exercise or get a hobby, do sculpture, pottery, whatever. Get off the couch, quit shooting that cocaine that's dirty, and there's fentanyl in everything, heroin. Molly, they said Mexican weed's got it. I don't know how they did that. China manufactures it, and then the cartel sends it through by truck, tunnel, plane, bus, anywhere. They caught a guy with $2 million of cocaine under his cargo of his truck. Yeah. Thank God the immigration control's doing something. Oh, yeah, how you want these kids. I go to the rehab centers in the high schools, and I talk to these troubled kids. What do you think they need? Religion, I guess. They don't believe in it. They don't think there's a God.
Well, first thing first, they need to find a purpose. They need to stay active. They need to find some kind of interest where they can or are able to express themselves. In expressing themselves, they will find meaning and purpose. When that happens, clarity comes to you. When in clarity, you're going to start thinking about something higher. You cannot introduce this high philosophy to somebody who is already lost. He or she needs to find himself or herself first. Find a purpose, a distraction that is meaningful.
I'm celebrating most of the kids are starting to catch on.
So stay active.
Less deaths now.
Thank you.
I finally got Narcan in the high schools. I told the mayor, Santa Barbara, what are we doing for those stupid kids that are doing those street drugs when they're foaming at the mouth at the high school? I finally got Narcan, and when I went to the city council meetings, I proposed that, and they finally put it through last March, a year ago. We're celebrating 1 year with Narcan in the high schools and colleges.
Good. Very good.
I don't want any more parents burying their children like what happened to my nephew at 25 in Santa
Anyways, thank you for sharing. Anybody else? So, what do you think? Embrace change. What do you think, that it was going to be like a management kind of talk? How to make more profit and we need to start with ourselves first. We need to be real and embrace this, be open to work with ourselves, to confront our limitations, and start leading a spiritual life. There is nothing wrong with religion. There is nothing wrong with rules, rituals. Absolutely not. But you have to be real. That is the only way. Very good. Well, thank you for coming, for your attention, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste.